Kommo-o won a regional championship. We just had Sacramento regionals over the weekend, and I just made a couple videos featuring Kommo-o and talking about how strong this Pokemon is, and then it goes and wins a regional championship this weekend. Absolutely crazy. So we're going to talk about the results of Sacramento regionals and talk about some of the Pokemon that were brought, because there are some really interesting ones that did make an appearance. So if this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subbed for more videos like this in the future, but let's get into it. So like I said, Sacramento regionals were this last weekend. We had 409 players in attendance, and it was a pretty fun one to watch. I managed to catch a handful of the battles at work, and it was kind of interesting to see the number of Pokemon that were just kind of like dropping in use and some that were rising. Like Fluttermane, for example, on day one was not the #1 Pokemon brought, which I think is really interesting. I really am shocked that it was not the #1 Pokemon brought. However, day two it was. Day two it was definitely the #1 Pokemon brought. It was everywhere. But seeing it kind of drop off is kind of leading to a rise in some of the other Pokemon that have seen a fall off. One, for example, Kingambit is making its return. You see it on both day one and day two. Kingambit is hopping back in and here to kind of play, mainly because if you think about a lot of the Intimidate setters that you're seeing run around right now, you know, Lando with a 51% usage rate is really going to help out a Kingambit having the ability to, you know, proc its Defiant and let it eat. So I definitely think that Kingambit has seen a rise in play because of that. But the craziest, most spicy thing of all, and actually there was a Dragonite usage on day two that was pretty high. Makes a lot of sense. Priority into Ogerpon is really solid, and Ogerpon clearly has a lot of uses. So Ogerpon's a very frail Pokemon, so being able to lead, you know, Powknight into that and be able to handle that pretty effectively is a very nice bonus. So definitely not a shock to see these two Pokemon come back, but also just Kingambit in general will also play fairly nicely into Ogerpon because of the Sucker Punch priority, things like that. You're able to dish out a lot of damage to this relatively frail Pokemon. But the craziest Pokemon of all, like I was mentioning, other than Kommo-o, is Tyranitar makes a resurgence, and that is actually really, really solid. Tyranitar is consistently a very good Pokemon. Like, there's no way around it. So this is the winning team. Michael Zhang not only brought the Kommo-o that won the whole event, but also brought the Tyranitar that won the whole event. Really, really cool team. Unfortunately, Victory Road does not yet have any of the OTS up for us to like take a look at the moves. But I did catch some battles with this. So like the T-Tar obviously setting up the Sandstream. I did have access to knockoff to, you know, get rid of some items for opposing Pokemon. Was very, very useful. But I like the synergy here. I actually played a team recently on the channel that featured a synergy like this. Hisuian Arcanine with the T-Tar in the Sandstream is incredibly solid because you actually get the special defense bonus, allowing Hisuian Arcanine to take more hits from those special attacks, which is really, really powerful. And I'm glad to see somebody acknowledge it on like a much bigger stage. Really cool combination. And then Hisuian Arcanine actually popping up a fair bit here in the top 8. But then on top of this, the Kommo-o was actually a really unique set. It was not a Clangorous Soul set that we're so used to seeing on the ladder. No, this was actually an Iron Defense Body Press set, which makes sense. Very, very solid combo for this particular Pokemon. If this thing was able to set up and just kind of start eating, it was a very difficult Pokemon in the battles that I watched for anybody to deal with, and especially, you know, in the battles I didn't watch because it won the whole event. So yeah, the body press with the Iron Defense, able to just kind of sit there and get a bunch of your defenses up and just start sitting on things with your body press. It was running the leftovers as well to get that additional regen at the end of a turn. Really, really cool to see Kommo-o come into play, and come into play in a way that not a lot of people are actually playing this particular Pokemon. I'll be keen to see if the rental team goes up for this, because I would like to feature it here on the channel. But just a really cool team all around. Bundle back. I do think it's interesting that Bundle's back, considering the rise in things like Kingambit. And also, you know, there are things like Empoleon and Milotic that have come into the fray, but clearly they're not as popular. But, you know, seeing things like Kingambit make such a return, but Bundle still having some use is kind of interesting to me. Rillaboom here doing Rillaboom stuff. Rillaboom's just a very powerful Pokemon, really, really solid Pokemon. You see it a lot here, actually, in the top 8. And then Fluttermane obviously doing Fluttermane stuff, and then Hisuian Arcanine. I think Hisuian Arcanine was slept on. I really do. As the tournament series goes on, when it was released in Regulation D, everybody was like, you know, it's got that kind of iffy typing. It doesn't matter anymore about iffy typings. Consider the fact that this team has 2 Pokemon with mediocre typings. You have a Rock Fire type, 4 times weak to water, and you have a Fighting Dragon type, 4 times weak to Fairy, and you have 2 of them on the same team. Terra doesn't care about those things anymore, right? Terra allows you to ignore your weaknesses, and it allows these Pokemon to eat, and Hisuian Arcanine just having access to, you know, that Rock Stab is so powerful, especially considering that you look at the second place team and you have Chipao Knight, right? That's very scary, but does not like dealing with the Hisuian Arcanine. So very cool to see Hisuian Arcanine be able to thrive. This team in general just is very cool to me. I really like all of the synergies that you're seeing here. You have the fake out to allow Kommo-o to set up. You know, you have the rotations. If you're going to get hit by a fairy type attack, you can rotate into Hisuian Arcanine and be able to take those hits more effectively. It's just a really cool team all around. Really big fan of it. But that's not the only cool stuff. You're actually seeing Alolan Ninetales pop up a fair bit, and that's just an incredibly solid Pokemon. Like, nobody's arguing the case that Alolan Ninetales doesn't deserve to pop up in the top 8. It's just great. Getting access to both screens off the rip is incredibly solid. You saw in the battle with Ragav and Michael in the top 4s that, you know, Alolan Ninetales was carrying some weight. It was able to handle T-Tar very effectively. It was able to handle Kommo-o very effectively. So it was actually doing a fair bit for the team outside of just setting Oroville. So really cool Pokemon that is seeing some use. Baxcalibur here actually seeing some use as well is really nice. Other cool stuff that popped up. Gastro still making an appearance here and there. I think the only other real, like, cool thing that popped up was Gallade here in the top 8. Gallade on this Armor Erosion DD team makes a lot of sense. You know, you get some bonuses for Gallade with the Psychic Terrain down under Trick Room. Really cool team from the look of it. Got basic Ursaluna there. Does Gallade get telepathy? I think Gallade might get telepathy. Just like Gardevoir does, so that could be a really interesting combination between Ursaluna and Gallade. I'd have to double check that because I'm not positive. Do I still have Showdown pulled up? Yeah, we do. Okay, Gallade. It does not. Sharpness. Okay, it does not. I was gonna say that could be a really cool combo, but I guess not. But anyways, Gallade still being in the top 8 is really interesting, especially considering all the new Pokemon and all the new toys that we have at our disposal. A Pokemon like Gallade that's been present for a long time popping up is really interesting, and the fact that it plays so high is also very interesting. So all in all, absolutely insane variety of teams here. You're not just seeing, you know, the normal, you know, Iron Hands stuff. Honestly, there's only one Iron Hands in the top 8, which is crazy. Iron Hands Flutter Cores, you know, you're not seeing that pop up. Rillaboom making much more of a presence as the fake out user of choice in this format. Is really interesting to me. Lando being very popular. There is a lot of Lando. Ogerpon actually not seeing as much use in the top 8 is kind of interesting to me. There's what, 3 total in the top 8. So not even 50% of the teams had Ogerpon, which I think a lot of people were concerned that Ogerpon was going to be excessively powerful, but it's really not the case. It's incredibly frail and it's able to be dealt with very effectively. So it's very interesting to see how few Ogerpon are actually there in top 8 at Sacramento. We do have what is it, Toronto coming up. Toronto's coming up here very soon. I think it's 2 weeks, and I think there's another one, I believe, in France next weekend. So there's a lot of Play Pokemon stuff happening in October, and this is just a continuation of the meta. I'm really excited to see what comes out of it, if we get any more spice like this. Like, this is such a cool team. Congrats to Michael Zhang for winning the whole thing. It's such a cool team. Just really cool stuff all around, seeing a lot of this spice pop up in the meta. So I'm very keen to see what develops the rest of the season. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite team was that you saw. I think there was a Weezing team making the rounds that I did not actually catch on stream. So I've heard that was really cool. So let me know all that fun stuff in the comments below. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and sub for more videos like this in the future. And also be sure to check out the Discord. People over there hanging out, playing Pokemon all the time. And if you want to see anything else from me, check out any of the videos that you see here on stream. But until next time, peace.